the only way that you could know if we're that truth is if we practice what we write, what we preach. If we practice it. He said, and the way that you could find that out is to stay and to observe. Come live with us and observe our practice. And I told him, my bags are outside the door. Remember, I had already decided I was going to come, even before even meeting this. So I brought my bags in, and then the brothers took me to the side, and they wanted me to get rid of my beard. I had a little small beard like my brother did. I had a beard. And they met with me at Jalsa, and they told me that Republican ideology is not about how you appear. It's about being a Muslim in your behavior. Not to look like a Muslim, but to be in submission to God and to act accordingly when you interact with people. And I said, fine, but what does that have to do with my beard? So I had a big debate with them about should I cut my beard. My beard had nothing to do with religion. It was just my culture. That was my first meeting with the brothers. And I found them to be very serious about my beard. They wanted to make sure that I understood that Islam is not how you appear, right? It's how you behave. So I kept the beard for a while. Just because I want to say that to say to you, I'm not so easily convinced that just because somebody says something to me, I change my mind. That's my point. So, now I don't have a beard because they convinced me in time that too many people who appear to be Muslims are misrepresenting Islam. Let me say that again. I was convinced when I was in Sudan that too many people who appear to be Muslim are misrepresenting Islam in the worst possible way. They're engaged in behavior that is absolutely un-Islamic. And people believe it's Islamic. Some people believe it's Islamic. They're doing it from their heart, not because they're evil, but because they're convinced by some of the shuyukh, by some of the scholars, that the 1400-year-old laws of Islam are the last word on Islam. They're convinced that there is no new understanding of Islam. This is what I understand to be true. So when I lived with the Republicans, what I learned primarily from Ustaz Mahmoud and from the brothers and sisters that were devoted to him was that everybody was trying to be the best person that they could be. This was what they were trying to do. And so I like that the discipline. Our discipline was like this. I'll give you an idea of one day. This is one day. Our day would start when we'd wake up in the morning and we would pray Fajr, the morning prayer. Then we would have a small meeting within our house. This is all the brothers. I lived in Beit al-Ikhwan Alif. We would have a meeting of the brothers in the house. And then the brothers who went to work first would start to shower. Whoever had to leave earliest would start to shower. There were about 15 brothers that were permanently in my house. When we had major work that we were doing, the number could go up to 25 or 30, but usually about 15. Then we would go and work. Almost every brother in that house had a job where he worked. Some of them were just students, but that was their job, to be the best student that they could be, right? Once we would come home after work or after school, we would shower. Some of the brothers would be responsible for making our lunch. We prepared it ourselves. The men prepared their own food. We prepared our food, and it was always simple. Salad and beans. Beans and salad. Little piece of meat. You know? Mullah weka, maybe, no. You know, some very simple things. After we would eat, we would pray Asr. Then we would have a chance to rest and to prepare ourselves for our evening job. Our evening job was just this is Jamboreen's practice for 9 years that I lived there. Our evening job was just before sunset. Just before sunset, we would leave our houses. We had 4 brothers' houses in Omdurman. Alif, Ba, Jim, Wadal. And the sisters stayed in Beit-el-Istas. All the brothers' houses would march in by Masira to Beit-el-Istas. And we would chant. We would chant Allah until the sunset. Then we would pray Maghrib. Right? After Maghrib, this is after a day's work. This is our work in the evening. After Maghrib, the buses would show up. We would get on the buses and we would go out and do Hamla. We would usually go to Souk, Omdurman, Khartoum North, or Khartoum. We would distribute the books and we would hold discussions. The men and the women. Our sisters would go in the street and discuss the ideas of the day with women and with men. And you know that wasn't easy in Sudan for the sisters to do that. They would do it. After that, we would be out maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. The buses would come, they would pick us up, we come back to Beit-el-Istas. Then we have a jalsa. Okay? Now it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Isn't it? 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. We have a jalsa, and we report back to Ustaz Mahmoud the interesting things that happened to us during the day. If you had nothing interesting to say, you just listen. After the reports, Ustaz maybe would comment here and there, right? And then he would maybe tell us what the upcoming program is going to be, right? And then usually he would tell us Narakum B'khair, and we would go to bed. It would be 11:30. We would go back to our houses and we eat our food. We couldn't have food. We had like hatalok. We would have just like bread and milk. Bread, just warm milk and bread. And we're very happy. We eat this. Wait, this is the then I will show you. I want to say what the Jamboree we're doing just so people understand. Then after we finished eating, it was sometime would be close to midnight, right? We go to sleep with the intention in our heart to get up and pray during the night. Look at this. And many of us would. Some would, and if you could, you did. If you couldn't, it's okay. Sleep, you need it anyway. You get up in the night and you pray your night prayer, right? And then you maybe get another half hour or so of sleep, and then your day goes over again, day after day after day after day. That was our typical practice. And so, all I can say is that 9 years in Sudan, the best 9 years of my life. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about Islam. Ustaz Mahmoud prepared us for the world that we see today. Ustaz Mahmoud was talking about Salafiyin and fundamentalism. Before it appeared, he said that fundamentalism is going to be the main threat to modern civilization. Before it appeared, this is what he was saying. People would hear this and they would say, oh, come on. We still had communism in existence then, right? We had capitalism in existence then. We had so many other things going on in the world. So that said, no, fundamentalism is the issue. Because it's always about Islam. It's always about this Islam returning to this earth. That's our promise. That Quran that was completed by Allah is to be lived on this earth. When He perfected our religion, right, we weren't ready for it. This is Ustaz Muhammad's teaching. As we develop, we have become ready for the perfect version of it. We have to apply it. It's that simple. Or we continue to practice. He said it's like this. We'll continue to. He said the Islam that was perfect for the 7th century could not possibly be perfect for the 21st century. No more than if we had a 7-year-old child and we had a perfect outfit for that child. That child is now 21, and you want to take that same outfit. Sorry, baby. You want to take the outfit that's perfect for the 7-year-old child and put that outfit on a 21-year-old person. It's that absurd to try to force that law that was perfect for the 7th century on the 21st century. But to say that Islam is complete and Islam is here for the 21st century, it says we have to go back to the original verses that were revealed in Mecca, and we have to develop a new Islamic law based upon the principles of economic equality, political equality, and social equality. What he says is so obvious. It's so obvious and so necessary, because he's talking about the way in which we organize ourselves in society, and he's talking about Tariq Muhammad, which is the methodology that allows us to organize ourselves so that we can actually live at that level in the society. So I'll stop there. The chef is tired. Enough of the talk. So if there's questions, thank you for listening. That's kind of what it came to me to say. I hope that was useful. And if you have any questions.
When was the last time you were in Sudan?
Last time I was in Sudan was 9/11. Honestly, I left Sudan on 9/9 to return to Nairobi, and I flew out of Nairobi on 9/11. That was the last time I was in. 2001, so 12 years ago.
During your stay in Sudan, have you ever encountered racism against you? I'm not talking about racism against the group of
Jamboree. You're talking about me?
racism against you.
Okay. So the question is this. It's a good question. When I was in Sudan, did I ever encounter racism against me? And I have to say, honestly, I didn't encounter racism. What I encountered was the Sudanese receiving me. The Jamboree accepted me. Ustaz Mahmoud accepted me. And the Sudanese community accepted me for who I was. I did run into people who had assumptions about who I was before they met me, right? So I ran into people that had assumptions, but once I talked to them, they no longer had those assumptions. I ran into Southern Sudanese who accepted me as well. I went to Juba. Ustaz Mahmoud sent me to Juba on a book campaign. And when I was in Southern Sudan, I also was accepted in Southern Sudan. But I was accepted in Southern Sudan not as a Northern Sudanese. They first thought I was. They accepted me in Southern Sudan as Zunji Amriki.
Yeah.
I went to Juba University, and I was talking to Juba University, and some seniors came out. I had a little group this big listening to me. I was talking about the ideas of Ustaz Mahmoud. Ustaz Mahmoud sent me there for that purpose on a small campaign. And it was going well. And then some upperclassmen came out, these guys, and one of them said, and stopped everything. He just popped his fingers. Everybody stopped. I stopped. Everybody stopped. He said, "Who are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm Abdullah Earnest, and I came from..." He said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm a student of Ustaz Mahmoud, and Who are you?" I said, "I'm Zunji Amriki." He said, "Zunji Amriki?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, continue."
Maybe he thought you were a judge.
He might have been right. I didn't tell him that. No, but... So I didn't run into racism, but I really was fortunate that people accepted me. Many people didn't understand, why would you come from America? I came from Hawaii, right? Why would you come from Hawaii to Umdurman? You know? They asked me, some people were like, "Who is this?" Even the Jamboree, yeah? They're like, "Are you crazy?"